Hello humans, Batsy here with another create video from the SMP. Today I want to finish some stuff around the base, make some progress with the missing parts of the workstation, and I believe I still have a couple of contracts I haven't attended yet. But before any of that, I would appreciate it if you consider leaving a like, or maybe even a comment. It helps a lot so the algorithm promotes my content. Now let's waste no time and jump into the video. I made a couple of changes to the steam engine and the storage system. So let's take a look at those, before going any further on the other projects. Let's take a peek at the steam engine first. I have made a couple of modifications so it's more reliable and also in preparation for that substation I wanted to make. If we take a look at the power, you might notice it's a tier 9 engine. It's not being superheated anymore. That's because, since I made the engine, I have been working on the server, and other things outside of the game itself. Obviously, the chickens are doing fine here, but you can see how the barrels are pretty much dry by now. That's because Dam lives right there, and they have been keeping my engine running while I wasn't online. Something that I very much overlooked when I was designing it, but nothing to fear. That's why the substation was for, and I simply added a couple extra things to make it more reliable. I might still add some extra buffer to ensure it never runs out of cakes, but let me show you the alternative I made for now. If we go down here, it all looks mostly the same, still have the same setup to bake cakes and everything. Well, not sure if using lava and smashing them up with a press is baking in any way, but you know what I mean. Now over here, I have now an extra spout. On the other side you can see the old depot, which now has a lever to spot feeding cakes to the engine, but still being able to produce them. And at the front, I have added a backup fuel generator, which is basically a spout, with a lava bucket. Now I can either choose what fuel I want to run the engine with, or in case that the cakes run out, there is a backup plan to keep some power of the engine running. You might be thinking, well, what happens if I'm consuming more than what a tier 9 engine can do, and I run out of cakes? Lava won't cut it. You are correct, that's why I wanted the substation. The idea is to have some sort of central connection between the engine and the rest of the town. It will be composed of clutches, gear shifts, and all of that. Instead of mixing things up and connecting every building to the nearest gearbox, I want to take the power directly from the steam engine and have separate channels to move the power independently to every building. That way I will have a central room to control the town, and if the engine ever goes down to tier 9, then I can simply automate it so the non-essential parts of the town get powered down, leaving the rest of the town running just fine. I'm not always going to use everything at the same time ever, so that's a funny solution, and something cool to build, even if it ends up being useless. I also need a place to put the substation, because the initial idea was to put it here, hence why I left this much space, but to be honest, I don't think it's enough, and there are too many things walling off this section from the rest. So I thought, well, why not make a tower, and place it up here instead? Like literally up here in the sky. The other more sensible idea is to build it right behind the steam engine. There is probably enough room to build it there, and it's decently open to move the rotation around. Unlike this, here it's clearly unrealistic, there is no space to move the shafts in any direction but upwards. I also want to keep shafts high above the buildings so it kinda looks like electric poles or something. I think that might be a pretty cool touch, instead of hiding everything underground. Maybe something along this height, about 2 or 3 blocks above the pipes. Yeah, I think compared to the ground, that should be about the height of the next building. Anyway, I will be thinking about it as the week progresses. For now, let's check that storage system and the couple of modifications I made for it. Ah, yes, I added all the books I was missing last time. The board it's still pretty much empty, but I've got a toolbox to test with, we're going to find out if it works as intended. Those books are basically here to read the contents of the vaults below. I think I didn't show it last week, but I added a content observer at the side of each of the vaults. Those are connected to the lecterns so we can see the list of items inside it. It should be a good way of keeping track of all the vaults, but yeah, let's check the cooler additions. You can already see the unloader I have added to it. I thought about adding some fancy setup with chutes and whatnot. But to be honest, I think a storage system based on a minecart contraption deserves more minecart action. This is going to use the same portable interfaces I already have in place, but by pressing that button, it will revert the system to use them as an unloader instead. I have hooked the engine behind a gear shift. So it only took a little bit of redstone to reverse the storage system. What is going to happen is that the sticker will attach all those barrels or any shulkers I place behind, and make them part of the contraption. Then because the belts will be reversed, it will start sucking down items from the contraption. I just had to add a little bit of redstone in here. This link here is the button we saw above, and it's what will trigger the unloading. The first thing that will happen is that this extender will fire up for 30 seconds. This is what will revert the system for the time being. At the same time, the link for the secondary vaults will shut down, so no items go down there. After a delay of 2 ticks, the next link will trigger the main circuit, making one full reversed cycle through the system. The last link is what controls the sticker, so it's only attached when I want to unload something. It's just a little bit extra redstone, and it should work nicely with it. The reason why I'm using the sticker is because otherwise, if I'm trying to load the shulkers, all these barrels will also get filled too, and that's not what I want. And I really like this system, it uses what I already had, and barely had to add much on top of it to make it work. It should also be quite fast. I set it to 30 seconds because I'm using the same circuit, but I could make a new circuit that takes 5 seconds, and that would probably be enough. Now let's dump a bunch of items I have prepared, and see if this storage system works or what. I just need to press the big red button and pray nothing breaks. Alright, yeah, it attached the barrels. That means they are probably empty already. One of the top vaults should have taken priority. Alright, here they are. So unloading works fine so far. Looks like all of those barrels are back to normal, and they are all empty. Awesome, so let's try loading the shulker too. The board is empty, but I do have set a shulker here to test it out. I'm using the same items as filters, plus a couple more to fill it up. Now we press the button, and I guess just wait a bit. I will be tweaking around the timings every once in a while till it reaches the fastest point. I can see there are items in the contraption though. There we go, everything is working as it should. Oh wait, haven't checked the lectern before loading the shulker. Let's take all of those items. Dump them back into the system. And after a few more seconds. There we go, now the lectern is also working as it should. With that, I think the storage system is pretty much done. I mean sure I need to fill up the board, set up the filters and whatnot. But as for the mechanical part of it, this is pretty much done now. I'm honestly really happy with how this turned out to be. As slow as it is for now, at least compared to moving a few little items, this is going to be incredibly fast when it's completely filled up, and it moves thousands of items per second. Yeah, really happy with it.
That might actually be that's a lot of bottles that I did not get.
And so, the 𝐋𝐢𝐬 has been hidden, and it's now down to you, my Patreons, to find it. It's somewhere around my base, and it is safe, very very safe. The only rule is that you can't break any blocks. Every week where no one can find it, I will give a new hint in my next video. The first hint is that no redstone needs to be altered. Maybe a button needs to be pressed, or a lever needs to be flicked, but no redstone circuit needs to be altered. Basically, please don't ruin my redstone, pretty please. Now come at me, my silly humans. Show me what you are made of. Oh yes, by the way, whoever finds it gets a netherite ingot. With that out of the way, it's time to make some real progress in the base, and I think I'm going to be doing some terraforming around the island. Also, don't mind the FPS drops, I'm on my cinematics client, and it's not the smoothest thing to record gameplay on. An important thing I need to build today is the bricks factory. It should be a relatively small building, so it's going to fit perfectly in here. But the first thing I might do today is clear all of those trees, and start building the main street for the town. Which, by the way, I still need a name for it. I would love to hear your suggestions. Maybe a word pun related to bats with an industrial theme or something. Let me know what could be fun to name this cool little town. And I think this will be the perfect spot to place the train station. The street will reach here, and being on the corner should make it easier to lay down the tracks without taking out space from the rest. Wanted and Sail are taking care of the trains, and according to the latest plans, the main station for our evil archipelago will be somewhere on this island south of my base. Or potentially left of me. Either way, it's good to place the station on the nearest corner to those locations. Will make placing the tracks a lot easier, and not mess with the rest of the town. I also thought about adding it up here, but the lava pit is too close to dig any tunnels around it, and I think I want other stuff up there. We also talked about adding a subway, which I might be placing the entrance on this corner. It will be connected to Dam, and I think she wanted to make a loop for the rest of the evil archipelago. There is a lot to be done this week, so I better get started if I want this video done by Friday. Let's waste no time, and cue in the time lapses. I got some suggestions in the previous episode to add some sort of fast food restaurant, something like a food stall situation. Thanks a lot for that suggestion, I thought it was a pretty good idea. I went for a ramen shop, I thought it would look cute and it makes sense with its surroundings. I also wanted to take the chance to talk about one of the least glamorous parts of having a server. And that is the management of it, in particular, that sometimes people do silly things, and you gotta take action. I run a private server, which is a reward for my supporters. That normally filters out many of the players who would join just to troll, but sadly enough, it doesn't prevent some people from being silly. The other day, we had to ban someone for duping items. It is honestly sad having to ban one of my supporters for going against the rules of the SMP, especially when it comes to cheating. But even if they paid to support me, that doesn't really give anyone a free pass to do whatever they want. The balance of the server and its ecosystem are vital for its success. I may be more friendly with some than others, but the rules apply the same to everyone, and there should never be a price tag to allow things like cheating. I guess unless they paid $1 million, maybe then we talking. I'm joking, of course, or am I? I'm recording this a few days after those time-lapse. In fact, I already finished recording everything else, and I should be editing it all. But I wanted to wait to record this because I asked 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬, our local chef, to help me fill up this ramen shop with foodies, and maybe some neat decoration, and I think they did an amazing job at it. What do you think, humans? Do you like it? I think it looks fantastic. So far I love the outside of it. It's not super detailed, but I think the oak and spruce combination looks fantastic. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it all turned out. It looks so cool. And those banners look so amazing there, it really gives the vibes of a ramen shop. It's so small and cute, I love it. As for the interior goes, 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 did an awesome job. They added those sushi plates that look fantastic. They called rice roll medley, from Farmer's Delight. I'm not sure if that's what they call it in the States, but it's basically an assortment of sushi. They also placed some ramen bowls over here and everything, it looks fantastic. I love all the little details that comes with Farmers. I'm really happy with how this turned out to be. The inside is super cool too. With all the barrels, the pots, and everything on it. It really looks so alive. These blocks from Farmers really make for good decorations. And 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬 even filled the barrels, sort of drawers, with so much food for me. It's a shame that the barrels won't display the icons, I imagine because they are modded items that it doesn't work as it should. But aside from that, everything is looking fantastic. I'm going to be using this as my food storage from now on, and certainly asking 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬 the next time I'm running down on food. Why would you throw all the food on the storage system if you can have an awesome ramen shop for it? One thing I could use some help with is the banners. They're hanging from the trapdoors, which means there is not enough room to use the seats. There technically is, but it realizes there is a block above, and won't let you sit. Maybe the humans have some ideas on how to fix that, but have the banner in the same place, at the same height. I'm really not sure if it can be done, but I would love to hear some suggestions on how to fix that. Now it's back to the past, which I think I was over there. No, I was definitely over there. Yeah, I ended up adding a couple extra things, but first, let's take a look at the substation. I went for a very simple setup, at least for now anyway. It's mainly to divide the power lines, which I ended up going for 3 of them, but eventually, I want to add redstone links and a few extra functions in here. Added some speed controllers, gear shifts, and of course the clutches. But yeah, this is going to work well for now. Alright, yes, the power lines, I went for 3 of them. Initially, because I couldn't fit more than 3 speed controllers, but I also realized that it's more than enough really. Before going further, the exterior is super simple. I was thinking of making it look more industrial, but in the end, I just covered it and kept the same aesthetic as the rest, and I'm honestly pleased with it. I think looks great. As for the power lines, I have extended 2 of them for now. The third one I don't think I will use for quite some time. The first one on the right comes this way, and it will power up the automation factory, which I might be doing soon. Then the second half of the workstation, if that even fits in this tiny spot. Lastly, the bricks factory that I'm going to be building today. Those 3 buildings will be taking power directly from the substation, but they won't be connected to one another. The second line goes through the middle, which will probably be powering up this area on the left. Maybe something over there, but that's where the station goes, and this entire area up here. I might end up leaving this entire area down here for the third line, but I'm not sure yet, time will tell. Maybe give me some suggestions if I should use the middle line to power some of this, or leave it for the upper area, and the bottom part with the last line. I think both should work as well. I still need to terraform a little bit here and there, but in general, I'm fairly pleased with how things are looking. It really is starting to look like something. The more busy it gets, the more like an industrial town it's starting to look. I also decided to go for cliffs, because it gives me more horizontal space than the hills I had before. I need to maximize the space I have as much as possible. Now let's jump into the shortest time lapse ever, and get that bricks factory finally done. That's pretty much it, the factory is done. I went for yet another brick building. What a surprise. But joke aside, I think looks great, it fits well on this corner, and it goes nicely with the path and everything. I made use of panels to make it fit a bit better with the grass. I think it's a nice touch. I'm tempted to change the path for a dirt road or something like that, but for the time being I'm pleased with how it looks. For the roof, I went for dusk again to match the rest of the buildings, and I really like the contrast it gives. It's a cool aesthetic. I'm really liking how the town is looking. The design is so simple that makes the complexity and busyness from 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 combine really well with it. And I think the simplicity of this building fits perfectly on this corner with all the machines of 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 on its side. I ended up connecting it here, which is more or less where the workstation will be. I just need to make a new connection to this belt, and it should be fine. The factory itself is very simple, so let's speedrun this little tour. A vault for the singular bricks, and another for the blocks. A couple of levers to enable or disable each one of them, depending on which one we're looking to generate. Down here I placed a cobble generator that goes into a vault. That throws the items into a crusher to make gravel, and another one to make sand. Then it gets washed in the middle of this, and the resulting clay gets cooked to make bricks. We remove the flint because flint bad. And we go up with the bricks to store it up, and some get crafted into blocks. And that is how you make a tiny brick factory in probably under a minute. I'm going to leave this running for the time being, because I really need those bricks. I'm tired of doing it manually. Now the project I'm really excited about, the train station, and the train. Isn't this the coolest train you have ever seen? Oh my gods, it looks so cool. I love the small details it has. I love how little it is, with the little doors, and the cute seats. It's so awesome. It has room for 3 people, and yeah, I couldn't afford to make a roof for it, but I like it, it's great. The locomotive is super cool too, with the little tank and whistle. I can't wait to place a driver in here and have it connected to the rest. It's going to be awesome. Oh, almost forgot, this is the train station. Quite simple, with some bushes here and there. I like it. It's not what I had in mind at first, but by mistake ended up with something I like better, to be honest. I love combining spruce and oak, it's such a nice contrast. I made the road for pedestrians only. I thought it made more sense that way, and I think it was the right decision. It just looks great right now. I'm really loving it. Oh, and this little corner, I thought I would leave it like a viewpoint of sorts. You can come here and enjoy. I was gonna say the view, but I guess the tiny bit this render distance lets me. I think it fits really well, and the bit of terraforming I did looks great too. It goes well with the area. Expanded a lot this week, and I really like where this is going. It's starting to look really awesome. And like I said before, I really want to hear some suggestions about the name of the town, or the island in general. We are on the archipelago of evil, so maybe a word pun between that, the Industrial Revolution, and bats, or something along those lines. There is only one question left to answer. Does this new expansion make for a really cool cinematic? I think the answer is yes, it does for an amazing cinematic. This was a really fun episode to make, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you want to support the channel, please consider leaving a like, and maybe even a comment. They really help a lot with the algorithm. You can also join my Discord for free. We spend most of the time talking about Minecraft, and you can always join my Patreon and become part of my adventures as well. But this will have to be it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.